Thank you very much. Call the meeting to order. Caitlin?
Ross,
Here.
White,
Here.
Taylor, Robinson,
Here.
Baxter,
Here.
Harris,
Here.
and Height.
I'm going to say present tonight in honor of Murray not being here.
That's right.
A quorum is present, sir.
Thank you very much. You know, when it's my turn to lead the prayer, I always look for opportunities to bring new faces down here to share their thoughts and beliefs with us. And I've invited Pastor Joe Hodges, who is a fairly new preacher at the lovely Park Hill Christian Church. And so, Joe, if you'd come up and lead us in prayer and pledge, I'd certainly do appreciate it. I invite you to stand.
Would you pray with me? Our God, we thank you for North Little Rock, Arkansas, a place that we call home, a place where we serve and a place where we are able to serve others, a place that's family friendly, and a place that has friendly families, a place that sometimes we leave our politics at the door, but we never ever leave our faith at the door. So tonight I thank you for this place that we call home. We thank you for this home and for the home we look forward to being in someday as well. And I pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved.
Second.
Motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
Okay, communications. Anybody want to pull any of the communications? Seeing none, on the roll, call the roll, please.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
Actually, I didn't get a motion on that, Debbie.
Yeah, that'd
Ms.
be my
Ross
motion.
moved and Ms.
Yes.
White second.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I was trying to jump ahead. Let's go to a special call. Caitlin.
Special call.
Yeah.
This is an email dated Thursday, May 18th, 2017, from the City Attorney's Office regarding special meeting of the North Rock City Council at 6:05 p.m. Honorable members of the North Rock City Council, the purpose of this email is to advise you that Mayor Smith has called a special meeting of the North Little Rock City Council at 6:05 p.m. on Monday, May 22nd, 2017, at the City Hall Council Chambers, North Little Rock, Arkansas. The following will be on the agenda. R-1798, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement between the City of North Little Rock and North Little Rock School District for transportation for the city summer youth program. Sponsor is Mayor Joe Smith. Pursuant to Section 2-48-2 of the North Little Rock Municipal Code, all members were notified.
Okay, thank you very much. We've called that, and so you need to read it again, Caitlin?
Yes, sir.
Read it again.
Okay. Sponsors Mayor Smith, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a local agreement between the City of North Little Rock and North Little Rock School District for transportation for the city's summer youth program.
Move for adoption.
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
Yes.
Very much. I show no presentations tonight. We do have several people signed up for legislation that we're going to be considering tonight. We'll go down the list here. Mr. Ard, 1739, 1796. Okay, well, come on.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, you're on top of the list.
Don't like being first.
3 minutes, please.
I don't even need to time it tonight. I just want the people out there to understand the city needs your help. I'm not for increase in sales tax, but we need it, and you got a good choice. Do the sales tax or let the council put a garbage fee on us. I'd rather see people that come through our city, do things in our city that don't live here, help us. So, citizens that are listening, please encourage everyone that you can to vote for the sales tax. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Ard. We've got quite a few on the same deal. Let me skip around just a little bit. Okay, how about Joseph Velasco, 01736? Yes, sir.
Mayor, members of the City Council, I represent Gene Pfeiffer and his limited partnership. This is on 01736, and as lawyers, we often have to wear multiple caps, and so I'd like to start out by taking off my lawyer cap and trying to appeal to the sensibilities of the city on behalf of Gene Pfeiffer as a productive member of the City of North Little Rock. As you know, this ordinance and this set of situations with the city deals with a road access to the North Little Rock North Shore Business Park. That's been a productive part of the city. It's got limited access, and we know that from the citizens of that area who are North Little Rock citizens and valuable corporate entities. We've got ADEQ in there. We have the Arkansas Surgical Hospital. We've got the Crystal Hill Elementary School, and those three have all identified problems and issues of safety related to the access into this without a second entrance, which is ultimately what this multi-improvement district is there to do. And I just want to express my, on behalf of Mr. Pfeiffer, he wants to work this out with the city in any reasonable way that we can. We don't have to litigate. We don't have to go through the court process. It seems inevitable and that at the end of the day, this place for the North Shore Business Park to grow really does need a second entrance, and that's what we're working towards here. This is something that everybody, we believe, can endorse, and we want to endorse it with the city. We want to work with the city on all of that. And with that background, Mr. Pfeiffer remains committed to work with the mayor, to work with the city council, to work with whoever, so we can find a way to make this work. He has no interest in continued litigation. We've gone through the circuit court. We've gone up to the Arkansas Supreme Court. We've come back, and we're here again. And I believe that surely we can all work together in the community to get this and achieve this and move it done. I recognize that we have a limited amount of time, and rather than go through some of the legal arguments, which I'm happy to do for anybody in the mayor or the city council, I have to get this into the record, and this will supplant taking up too much of the council's time. If I may, can I submit this brief statement with the exhibits into the record?
Absolutely.
All right, may I approach?
Yep.
Unbound copy to make it easy for copying. And then for each of the council members, I brought a copy that's bound. Hopefully that makes it easy to flip through. And I believe the city council and the mayor have probably seen all of this information. The first 2 pages are the kind of the legal issues that we're dealing with. And the exhibits behind it identify some of the evidence that's been in the court and in the records and so forth. And so I'm happy to go through these legal arguments, but if the city council and the mayor will accept this as a tender of that, I think I can secede the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Flasco.
thank you all, appreciate it.
Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on R1796. First one is Ms. Butler, Glenna Butler.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Glenna Butler, and I live at 7216 West Wind, which is across the street from 7213 West Wind, which is R1796. And this is a house that I have been watching being built for over 7 years, and as it's being built, it's falling down. As they do one thing, something else falls down. I have watched while an ambulance came to pick up a gentleman that leaned against a railing on a second-floor balcony and fall and end up with a broken back, from what I understand, because the railing was not built properly. This house has been built, from what I understand, without any building permits. I have gone to court. I have watched as he has been fined. I have watched as code has been there multiple times and told Mr. Price that you've got to get a building permit, you've got to do this. He just ignores it. He's been ignoring it for 8 years, And I would really appreciate y'all looking at this house. And don't just look at the outside pictures because they can be deceiving. This house needs to be torn down. And because from the outside looking in, there is no way that this house can be started over like it is now. And I really would appreciate y'all taking the time to look at it and voting in our favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Gayla? Hold on a minute, I'm gonna make a stab at this. Dashhousing.
Close enough.
Tell me what it is.
Dockenhausen.
Dockenhausen, okay.
I live across the street as well, and in agreement with Miss Glenna, we've watched this house just be a money pitfall. I mean, it's just not even money pitfall, it's just a mess. And I want to address it from the safety issue. When you buy a home should be considered safe for the homeowner. It should be safe for the neighborhood, those close to it. It should be safe for any owner that comes after that particular owner leaves, and this house is not safe. My understanding is this gentleman has gotten, actually what I believe, one permit from the very beginning was a building permit, which expired after 1 year. He has not gotten any others, and in that time, his workers, as we call it, I can tell with 100% assurity they were not professional or licensed professionals that have come in to work on this house. And therefore, this house is not safe. And on top of the safety issue from just the codes and the permitting not being issued, well, requested and issued, and then the inspections being done on the house to make sure that it is safe, we have to deal with weeds that are taller than us. We have to deal with gutters coming down, with lights coming down outside, with activity. As you know, in environments like this, you have activities that come and go, which is not appealing. And so I just really in agreement with all of us who are here, which I wish everybody would stand up and show that we're all here as a community, wanting to say we really, really, really want you to look at this house, as she said, not from the outside because it can be deceiving. This house has mold beyond belief on the inside, and we know that because we were going to purchase the house prior to Don when we thought it was for sale, and he had already purchased it, and we noticed the mold in the basement already, and so he's never done anything to rectify the issue. It continues to pour into that house, has for 8 years, and it is a mess. So no codes, no anything's been done, mold. It is a safety hazard. So please, 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 think about it real hard on our behalf.
Thank you very much. Todd, you want to add to that?
I'm the 50-year owner of that name, and she's a 30-year owner of the name, and she got it wrong. It's Dackenhausen. So I've lived in full view of this home with my wife for the last 8 years. I'm also a North Little Rock and Little Rock business owner, and spent my entire career in the building trade. My company stood before this council several years back and asked permission to add, or get a variance to add a 28,000 square foot to our manufacturing facility in North Little Rock. With your permission, we did that and went forward and met all the building codes, got an occupancy permit. In our same neighborhood, in the West Wind neighborhood, we've got a couple houses being built. One of our good neighbors that's joined us tonight had to move a window due to codes 1 inch and remove the brick to move it 1 inch to meet the codes. And my new neighbor is a 50-year business owner, plumbing owner in city of North Little Rock. And he said that the city codes and the enforcement of such are the most relentless and satisfactory that he's ever known in any city he's ever done business with. And for that, we thank you for a good city to live in and a good city to do business in. However, this house, we're not quite sure what's going on at 7213 West Wind, but we're asking for the same code enforcement on this property. For 8 years, the property's been under construction by the owner's friends and transients without a building permit and inspections. Many of the transients lived on site during the construction. These aren't rumors. We do live right across the street from them. We've talked to them in the dead of the night when they're hungry or need a place to go to the bathroom. without permits on the site. No construction porta potties been brought in. There's been no sewer hooked up. So for 8 years, we've had the debris from these people that have lived there and worked on the property dumped between this house at 7213 and the next door neighbor. 5 years into this nightmare, Glenna spoke to the man that fell off the railing that was not secured properly and fell onto the construction debris that we do appreciate that codes helped him clean up or forced him to clean up afterwards that have reappeared. But he fell onto that debris and then was severely injured, and we haven't seen him since. Due to the deviant nature of the owner, no temporary power pole was ever put in. So after stealing electricity from many of us neighbors, finally a meter was put in without permission. And until a few weeks ago, electricity was on at that house with wires even right at the front door sticking out uncapped. The lights are falling off of the front of the house that were put on, chimneys falling down, etc. Most recently, a driveway was installed with 12-inch walls on both sides of it. We now have a neighborhood community swimming pool or mosquito pit for many days after each rain. It has no way to drain. Nothing was done by permit, as my wife, or to code, as my wife reiterated, and no licensed professionals were ever on the job. Every aspect of this house was built wrong and is now collapsing right in front of our eyes. And despite the owner and his friends beginning to occupy this house, we believe that it is a health and safety hazard. So we implore you to put an end to our neighborhood nightmare. And we thank you for your consideration of the matter.
You bet. Thank you, Todd. Well, y'all are testing me tonight.
Yeah, I'm at 3 minutes.
Mike, I'm not even going to give a shot on this one.
Part of the German community. Last name is Fredericksmeyer. I would just repeat what they've already said. I live next door to the property. I guess the thing that bugs me the most is that he's using his yard for a bathroom. There's a large septic hole between my house and his house, and everything else. It's just very frustrating. We've been going through this for 8 years now, and I really hope that you will all do the right thing and get rid of this nuisance, because it's just been kind of a nightmare for the whole neighborhood, I think. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Kenny Wallace, 17, 39, and 40.
I will not be talking about the collapsing house. Thank you, City Council and citizens of North Little Rock. I'm Kenny Wallace. I actually managed the defeat of the 2011 sales tax increase and have managed other campaigns against taxes. You can see some of my work on YouTube account Keep Arkansas Legal. I want to state my first opposition to the proposed tax increase special election from the April 23rd article from Arkansas Online, which says in a quote, "We have cut all we can without cutting people." I believe that's from you. And from the very same article, it says that city employees and elected officials received a 3% raise in 2016 and a 2% raise for this year, I mean 2017, at a cost of $1.09 million and $1.28 million respectively, for a total of $2.37 million of the $3.69 million taken from North Little Rock's savings in those 2 years to balance the general fund. Now I look at those two statements and I say to myself, you want to either raise taxes or sanitation fees, and yet there were raises given. That's one of those things that just does not compute, because if you really need money as you claim, you shouldn't be given raises. Secondly, my second opposition is that this appears to be scheduled as a special election. Special elections are usually designed to minimize voter turnout, and we actually made an effort to get rid of them in the state legislature, and unfortunately we weren't able to do so. Special elections, if it's really an important issue and a good idea, it should be done in preferably November or at least May. A 7-year tax plan can wait a few months. And thirdly, I want to One of the problems I have is this idea that somehow we have to tax more in order to generate revenue. This nation was actually founded on the expansion of business and free enterprise. And often we've seen that under the circumstances when you lower taxes and especially get rid of regulation, you have an expansion of business, people stay in business and new businesses open, resulting in more revenue. And so for that reason, I would plan to oppose the tax increase. I would urge people to vote against 1739 and 1740. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Scott Hilburn. 1742.
Mayor and council members, I'm Scott Hilburn with Hilburn Law Firm. I'm here on behalf of Martindale Corporation, the 1742 on the rezoning, and I'm simply here to ask for your favorable consideration and will do my best to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, we'll certainly bring that up when that legislation comes, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody's got any questions for you? Okay, that is it on public comment, so let's go right on into unfinished business.
Unfinished business, 1736, Mayor Smith.
An ordinance denying the establishment of the North Shore Lane Multi-Purpose Municipal Improvement District Number 36 of the City of North Little Rock, Arkansas, declaring an emergency. First reading.
How about a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are we making a motion to suspend all readings?
Make motion to suspend the, place it on its second reading. Let's read them all.
On the motion, Ross,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Baxter,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
and Height.
Yes.
1736, an ordinance denying the establishment of the North Shore Lane Multi-Purpose Municipal Improvement District Number 36 of the City of North Little Rock, Arkansas, declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place it on its third reading.
Second.
On the motion?
Ross,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Baxter,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
and Height.
Yes.
1736, an ordinance denying the establishment of the North Shore Lane Multi-Purpose Municipal Improvement District Number 36 of the City of North Little Rock, Arkansas, declaring an emergency. Third and final reading.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain this just a little bit for us?
Council?
The history of this ordinance that's before you today began back in 2015 when an application was made for an improvement district. When it came to City Council in November of 2015, the council heard testimony about the majority in value of assessed value of the real property. At the time of the application, the council determined that, in fact, the City of North Little Rock and not the applicant was the majority in value of assessed value of the property described in the petition. There was a subsequent lawsuit filed by Mr. Pfeiffer. It went to circuit court. At the circuit court level, the judge ruled that the city should have passed an ordinance and set out specific things that the city should have found, which in effect would have forced the city to adopt the ordinance and establish the improvement district. The city appealed that to the Arkansas Supreme Court. The Arkansas Supreme Court recently issued its ruling in this matter and concurred that the circuit court could order the city council to pass an ordinance. That's based on the statute that governs improvement districts that says the municipal governing body shall make a finding as to whether the petition is signed by majority and assessed value of the property owners, and the finding of the governing body shall be expressed in an ordinance. When this was originally heard in 2015, what the council did was just not approve the ordinance. So there wasn't an actual ordinance that says we find that a majority in value of assessed value of the property owners have petitioned for this. So the purpose of the ordinance that is before you today is to follow what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court said, yeah, you have to pass an ordinance, but the Supreme Court amended the circuit court's ruling to say that the court should not have told you what your findings should be, because the circuit court said you had to find that the majority had petitioned. The Supreme Court said that was outside of the circuit court's authority, that you had to make findings and pass an ordinance, but not what the findings should be. This council has previously found that a majority in value did not sign the petition, and this ordinance before you today simply memorializes what you all determined back in 2015.
Got it? How about a motion?
So moved.
Second. On the motion, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
I guess I should have asked a question already. Sir.
Okay.
Is this improvement district, in one of my previous positions, Gina and I signed my name to some improvement district, so I don't know if
Different one.
is that a different one? Okay.
Okay.
All right. No.
Height?
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda? Anybody want to pull any of the consent agenda?
Ooh, I gotta find it.
All those in favor of consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
And same sign, motion carries. See if anybody's in here. Dick Giddings, is Dick here? Dick Blankenbecker's not here. Carmen, is Carmen here? Carmen Smith? I want to thank all these people for agreeing to serve on the Senior Citizens Commission and the Central Arkansas Water. Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes.
Tad Bohannon's here, though.
Tad's here? Hey, Tad.
But I can see you. I can see you. I've got a good shot.
Would you like to address us while you're here?
No, you all did exactly what I was going to ask y'all to do.
Well,
We enjoy having Carmen, and she does a great job.
she is smart and dedicated. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Caitlin,
All right, R 1796, Mayor Smith.
please call it.
A resolution declaring certain real property located at 7213 West Wind Drive in the city of North Little Rock to constitute a public nuisance and condemning said structures, providing a period of time for property owner to abate said nuisance.
Move for adoption.
Second. Okay, I'll call a public hearing, and we basically already had that, but right now is an opportunity. If somebody didn't get to speak on the West Wind Drive property, now's your time.
We didn't sign that?
Even if you didn't sign up.
Can we get the pictures up?
Count on him.
Yeah, we've got pictures. They're getting ready to pull them
I
up.
tried to assure these people that you would condemn it, no problem. But what I find interesting, it sat there so long with no building permits and nobody seemed to care. Thank you.
Does anybody want to see the pictures? Evidently, they're having a little bit of problem with it. We're not, look on the TV in the back. Y'all can see them back there. Roger Green's here from planning. Sean's here from planning. Bill's here from legal. We can answer any questions if anybody's anywhere close to being hesitant on condemning this structure.
I just want to make sure we get the one with the electrical on there. I mean, that one scares me to death on there. You've got, there you go.
Yeah, this has been, I mean, we've literally been messing with this since 2009 from what staff has told me, so.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I've served on city council now. This is my 17th year, and I believe this is the largest organized effort that I've seen come to the microphone to get us to act on a condemnation in my time serving on city council. And, you know, and I made this comment before that we have a tendency to hear groups down here a lot more than we hear single individuals when they have something to say. And so I want to thank this group that's sitting out there in the council chamber tonight for standing up for what they think needs to be done.
I agree. Ms. Ross?
Could we get Roger, someone just kind of point out these violations, what these violations, where the extension cord and the different things are?
Sure we can.
When I'm going through looking at these, and I understand some of them, but some of the violations? No, I understand but on the electrical and the chimney, and there's some things that were
Give us an executive summary.
Well, these pictures obviously show somebody's living there, which is a clear violation. This was showing the fact that they got an electrical meter without any approval from anybody in the city. I don't know how he did that. He got that from Entergy. It wasn't one of our electric meters. That's a tub enclosure with glass that's not tempered, plus there's an air conditioner with an extension cord running through the tub. Very unsafe. That's showing that there's no handrails going down the stairway into the basement. Of course, it's blocked we had a hard time getting down there with that. That door is leading out over the stairs going to the basement. It's opening over the stairs, not a landing. That should have opened in. And of course, showing wiring that's exposed. There's a water heater. It's electric. It's all the covers are off of that, which is very unsafe. And light fixture in the bathroom. The fan has not been exhausted to the outside. It's just blowing moisture up into the floor, creating mold, which we know what that is. Of course, open panel on the electric. Wires going every which way. There's no telling what's what, which ones are hot, which ones are not hot. I'm not sure what that one was showing. That's the other bathroom with the open lights, open exhaust vents. Appliances are not hooked up, they're just scattered everywhere. Tripping hazards on the floor. Plumbing's not hooked up, the sink's not hooked up. Wiring outside, those should be, of course, receptacles, weatherproof, GFCI protected, they're not even hooked up.
From what I understand, we've been literally for 7 years been trying to get this gentleman to do some good things with that property. Been to court, I don't know how many times, and he just refuses to be a good neighbor. And so I guess this is our only option, and maybe this will make something good happen out there. It's a nice neighborhood.
There's the mold that's really a problem in the basement area. Just the whole entire basement's covered with mold.
Is that good enough, Ms. Ross?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood what we were talking about. Pictures say a lot.
Okay, do we have a motion, Caitlin?
Yes.
Can I ask Mr. Wadley to come to the microphone?
Sure.
Oh, here's the one. Well, there's the one that I was concerned about. It looks like the chimney's duct taped on.
For the benefit of the residents that live out there on West Wind, should we go through this condemnation here in a few minutes, what can they expect next?
As in?
What's the process that we go through once we've condemned property?
And I'll let legal be more specific, but according to the legislation, he's got 30 days to abate it, and then after 30 days, then it falls back on the city to abate the nuisance, which could mean as far as the demolition of the building, but I'll let the assistant city attorney.
We literally put it in a dumpster, right?
Well, he's going to have to get a demo permit.
Pardon me?
If you determine to condemn this structure, he wants to do it on his own, he's going to have to get a demo permit, which he would then have 30 days. If he doesn't do that, then he still has 30 days to file his notice of appeal to circuit court. And then if it goes through circuit court, of course, I would then notify Mr. Wadley that we are not to proceed with us going and tearing it down until that legal process was there. So if it gets condemned, he doesn't appeal, he doesn't do anything, then once again, the next thing would be Mr. Wadley would then probably get an interior search warrant He would then go out, put out demolition contracts. If he doesn't pay for it, then of course we'll be back in front of you all to determine whether or not we could certify our lien. Also, if I'm correct on this, his property also now has been certified to the state land commissioner because there's approximately $13,000 or $14,000 of back taxes. So then that's another hitch. So in the meantime, who knows if the land commissioner sells it, we might have some other party come in trying to claim ownership. So one of the things we did, which was a little bit different, when we determined there was going to be this condemnation hearing, we actually filed a notice in real estate, putting the world on notice that there would be a hearing. If you do pass this legislation, then also no matter what, Tom or someone from the city clerk would actually file the notice of resolution put out there. Now, the other thing is, in the past is, we've been instructed by this council to have a person determine, can they rehab this? Which means then we would have to meet with that person. They would have to come forward with their financing, their contractors, and in this situation, it would probably be several departments needing to meet. So that would be if you determined you wanted him to rehab it. But as the mayor said, the track record on this, we've given this man numerous opportunities. He's appealed code tickets. He's been in jail. I don't think he's going to do it. I think we're going to wind up tearing this down if this council determines it is a public nuisance. Also, this is one of the first time where we've had one where we've actually had someone living in this property, even though they shouldn't have been. So this is a unique situation I don't think we've been presented with before.
Yeah, and if they did do a rehab project, it would be cash bond.
Yeah.
So I don't see that happening either.
So the main thing is for the residents out there, don't expect something to happen in the next few weeks because it's gonna be a long process.
No, this is step one.
It's step one.
Yeah, this is step one.
And as a side note, this person bought this house in a foreclosure. Back when the housing market fell, a contractor was building this and went under, and it sat there, and he bought it in a foreclosure. He bought it in 2009, and we had him in court in 2009, right after he bought it. So that's how long from...
Oh, Mr. Taylor?
I keep hearing 9 years or 7 years or however long. How in the world did this thing slip through the cracks for 7 years? 7 years? I'm confused.
I don't know that
Long time.
I don't know that it slipped through the cracks because we've had him in court. And then once they're in court, then he can explain the court process.
Sure, he's been given fines, he's been in jail, and so eventually, that's why we're at the point where the legal process, the criminal process, is the court's done everything. As you're aware, when a code violation is an unclassified misdemeanor, which means you can only, if you get a fine, he could have gotten a $20,000 fine. If he doesn't pay that off, then when he goes in front of the judge as to determine why he didn't pay it off, if the judge were to commit him to jail, he can only do 30 days. So also due to Mr. Price's health issues. So we at one point actually were able to get him in jail for 30 days. So I think we've given him every notice. But Mr. Price also, I can tell you from my own experiences, he also has numerous more charges than Little Rock. They've had him through court for years if you run his name through the circuit court. So, I mean, it has slipped through, but we've written him tickets, we've gotten there. He would clean up the yard a little bit. And I've talked to several of these people over the years where they've been in court before, so I feel like I know a few of you all. And he'd be in court, he'd clean it up, and then he'd digress again. So, you know, that's one of the problems, though, with this is, as it was brought up, is he's not on North Little Rock Electric. He's on Energy. So we had no control. Eventually, my understanding is Mr. Carter was able to notify Energy of this problem, and they agreed to cut off his property. That's how we got the tenants out of there. So this is just a unique situation. It's just taking that time.
And if I can add, you have to understand that the courts or even the city can't force anybody to do anything. They can only punish you for not doing anything. So nobody can physically make him go out and take a hammer and fix this. They can only fine you for not doing anything, correct me if I'm wrong, and if you choose not to pay the fine, then that still is not corrected. And so it's just a vicious cycle.
But we're going to stop that cycle tonight if we vote for this, okay? All right, do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. On the motion, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
R 1797, Mayor Smith.
Please call it.
A resolution approving and certifying amounts of liens to be filed with the Pulaski County Tax Collector against certain real properties in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas as a result of grass cutting expenses and abatement of other nuisances.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Call the public hearing. Anyone here to speak on grass liens and other abatement nuisances? Seeing none, close the public hearing on the motion.
Ross?
Question, I'm sorry, Ms. Ross.
We still have, there's 4 properties on here. They're in the name of Glory Land. You know, we obtained several of those properties that were donated to the city. We still have 4 on here that the city did not obtain. And at the last council meeting, there was also liens on there. So there's still properties that we are maintaining for them that if we can look at getting those donated to us too.
Is that the one over there by the railroad?
Well, there's different properties.
I'll look at
It's
it.
not the same.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to square all that stuff up.
Okay. So yes.
Okay. Motion?
On the motion, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
O 1739, Mayor Smith.
Please call it.
An ordinance providing for the levy of a 1% sales tax and use tax within the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas, 1/2 of which shall only be levied until December 31st, 2022, and shall only be used to acquire, construct, repair, equip, and/or improve streets, drainage structures, and facilities for the police department, the fire department, and the district courts, and 1/2 of which shall not be limited in duration or use, and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto. First reading.
I move to suspend all readings, but I have a question.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Question?
I just wonder, and I know it's a simple answer, why does 39 come before 40? Why doesn't 40 come first?
You have to levy the tax first, and you'll notice in Section 5 of this ordinance, it says the ordinance won't take effect until an election is held on the question, until the special election. It's just the procedure set out in the statute. You levy the tax, and then you call the special election, and the language that you use for calling the special election references the ordinance that you pass levying the tax. So that's why it comes first.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to suspend all readings.
On the motion, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
How about a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. White?
I have a comment I just want to make. I'm not sure what point to make it. I heard from a resident that I respect their opinion very much, and I just want to read what this resident said to me about this tax, and I just think this is because it mirrors how I feel about it. I don't think a sales tax will pass unless the purposes are clearly defined and heavily publicized, and that's what I've been talking about from the beginning, that I realize the definition is in this ordinance and will be presented to the people, but we need to be sure we're clearly defining at all times what this money goes for. We don't want any questions to be asked.
Let's vote on it, then I'll speak on that.
On the motion to adopt, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
I have already started the campaign trail, if you will, and, we have tweaked our PowerPoints and everything, but the most important thing that we've tried to get across to everybody is what we need and what we're going to spend it on. And so I think that we've about got it where we're hitting the nail on the head every time that I speak. I think most of you that I talked to last week, we're going to get you out, if we don't already have you, a list of all my speaking engagements over the next 80 days, and that will give you an opportunity to come and help support me, of course, but also to see what I'm saying. And I think we're passing out something tonight. Did Nathan give y'all anything tonight? Basically what it is, it's a 2-pager, I think, that basically tells you executive summary what our story is. And that number one, that we're the lowest in the state at 1%, that we have no sanitation fee, which is the lowest in the state, and that our police, fire, and our streets and drainage and our courts need help. And I think this one or two pager, it gives y'all the tools to talk about it amongst your constituents too. We want you, there's no reason for me to be the only guy out there. I really need your help. I think we've talked about it before, where the board of the chamber passed it unanimously, and I certainly was glad that we passed that unanimously, because we're all in it together, and we've got opportunities to sell our story. I think that if I can get in front of enough people and show them the numbers and give them the opportunity to ask me questions, I think I could convince most people that are reasonable to vote for it. So, Ms. Ross.
Just one, kind of to address Mr. Wallace's comment about a special election, and I know that's always one of my questions too. Why are we having a special election? Why can't we wait till the general election? And I've talked to legal, and Karen Scott, I think she's out here too. We're looking at a $4 million difference by delaying this to the general election, and then we don't even know, if we're going to have anyone running in November, any kind of special election there. So, because we don't know when the school board's going to run. So, $4 million, that's why we're having a special election.
Yep. Okay, next piece of legislation.
O-1740, Mayor Smith.
Please call it.
An ordinance calling a special election in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas on the question of levying a 1% local sales and use tax within the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas, one half of which shall only be levied until December 31st, 2022, and shall only be used to acquire, construct, repair, and/or improve streets, drainage structures, and facilities for the police department, the fire department, and the district courts, and one half of which shall not be limited in duration or use, prescribing other matters pertaining thereto, and declaring emergency. First reading.
Move to suspend all readings.
Did they do the emergency?
On the motion to suspend all readings.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
How about a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
O-1741, Mayor
Please
Smith.
call it.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of a general revenue promissory note, Burns Park Golf Course Equipment Project Series 2017, providing for the payment of the principal and interest on the note, declaring emergency, and prescribing other matters relating thereto. First reading.
This is just cleaning up what we did last week. The lawyers from the bank wanted to tweak it.
Move to suspend the readings.
Second. On the motion to suspend all readings.
Ross? White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
How about a motion?
So moved.
Second. On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height.
Yes.
O-1742, Mayor Smith.
Please call it.
An ordinance reclassifying certain property located at 6801 Highway 70 in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas from C3 to I3 classification by amending ordinance number 7697 of the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas, adopting an amended land use plan for the subject property, declaring emergency. First reading.
Ms. Robinson.
I'd like to make a comment. I understand that this particular vendor is buying property next door to some property that they already own, and I know it's scrap metal and recycling. But I have to say, a few weeks ago, I heard the noise in Glenview from this particular plant, and they stopped at 11 o'clock at night. And the last time when we approved the other, we talked about how the neighbors had complained. Now, this is a heavy use. They're going from a light industrial use to a heavy use. And I don't know what we're going to do. It's my understanding that they don't work till late at night.
But this particular night, when I kept hearing the boom, I got on the phone and called someone from that area. I said, is this from that scrap metal plant? They started laughing and they said, yes, it is. So I'm not against or opposing this, but I'd like for this particular business, because they are close to a neighborhood, I'd like for them to be respectful of the neighbors. Now, it was our understanding that if they were ever going to work past regular, normal business hours, that they would contact the mayor's office and let the mayor's office know, we've got a shipment we got to get out, and, we're going to be working over. That didn't happen. It has not happened.
I agree with you. I remember that. You might want to address that, Scott.
It's my understanding that, I'm not sure exactly what noise you heard. It's my understanding that they have not been operating at night and haven't for almost 2 years, especially since acquiring the new piece of property. One of the reasons for the previous night operations was because they had limited space on the yard. And so when a new shipment would come in, new material would come in, they had to process it immediately so that the shipments the following day so they would have space for the shipments the following day. With the acquisition of the new property, which I believe happened mid last year when the council approved it, that has helped to alleviate that problem, and because now they have more room.
When was this, Ms. Robinson?
This was a few weeks ago, and they stopped at 11 o'clock at night, and it was from this plant. What do y'all suggest we do the next time they're operating past normal business hours? Because, I come in and I'm saying I heard it and I knew it, and then they come in and say they haven't done it in 2 years. So what do we need to do?
Well, it's my understanding that based on what you just said, that the last time this issue came to light, that they were going to notify the mayor. I'm not sure what noise you heard. I'm not saying you didn't hear it at all. But it's my understanding they have not operated after dark in 2 years.
Would you research that for me?
Yes, absolutely.
Mayor?
Why don't you, well, I don't know, Linda, if you heard it.
I checked on that issue specifically today, but I can figure out, try to get figures or try to get operational details or whatever I need to get.
I heard it. If we need to send the police out so we can have a record.
Ms. Ross?
That was going to be my suggestion. I know that the police have a lot of things to do, but if Alderman Robinson...
You remember what night it was?
Hears that or
It was on
whatever.
Wednesday night, but it was a
You
few
can just have
weeks
somebody
ago.
drive by. The police could confirm that it is coming from that area if they have
We
time.
can do that. I would go along with sending the police out just to have a record, that this was actually occurring.
Okay.
Is there a set time, a stop time, when they're supposed to stop working?
I don't remember. We'd have to pull the minutes on that meeting.
I don't think we did.
But I remember
Set a time.
talking about it, and I don't think it said dark. I think it said, regular business hours, if my memory serves me correctly. Has the applicant already purchased this property?
I believe it's my understanding that this would be a condition to the purchase. I do have our project engineer here who can help answer any questions.
Maybe the owner needs to come.
Well, I don't want to slow this thing down, but I don't want to speed it up either. What's your pleasure, Ms. Robinson?
I would go along with the next time they operate, 10 and 11 o'clock, or past that time at night, that we call the police, and we send the police out there just so we can have a record that they were operating. And then that the police will come back and advise, you to let you know that they were operating. That way we'll have a record.
Does I-3 have any kind of hours of operation? I mean, I'm asking. I don't know.
That's a question.
Sean, what? So, there's not?
What about
C3?
Yes.
C3 has hours?
I'd have to double check on that, but the lower commercial, which is the office, has some hours in it. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but there is some comment in there about that.
So if you've got an I-3 and you're doing work outside of your building, which is the recycles do, they can do that if they want to?
That's the purpose of I-3, is the worst case for everything. It goes to I-3.
Can we put an addendum to that or anything?
Not with the rezoning, but we could do something in the zoning ordinance to put a time on.
Why don't we do this? I'm not real comfortable, Scott, because I didn't realize, I thought these guys were just being great neighbors, and I was looking at job creation and things like that. I think I'd like to hold this legislation and then let you and I and to talk to the owners, and because I don't want to give somebody an open book to do whatever they want to at I-3 especially when they're that close to a neighborhood. So,
And respectfully, Mayor, I would like to add, this company has been in this location in existence for 20-plus years, operating under I-3. This has been the zoning that it's always been on the original 5 acres. And this council also rezoned the adjacent 7 acres last year.
On the promise.
On the east side. And so this would be the 3 acres on the west side. And so those two properties, those two adjacent properties are already zoned I-3, along with, which is my understanding to be several other properties in the area. And so this would be adding 3 acres on to the already 12 acres that's there. So I guess my point would be that if they're not, it's my understanding they don't anticipate changing operations. The operation's already there. This is just expanding their land acquisition.
I get your point. Ms. Robinson?
And you know, a lot of the neighbors have lived there for 50 years. And my thing is, the neighbors do not oppose this business. They want this business to operate under some decent hours. And I'm saying that this company, you know, operated one night till 11 o'clock. What I would agree to, Mayor, is that the next time we hear them, that we send the police out so we can have a record. And I understand when we say it's I-3 and it's a heavy use and there are no stipulations. My thinking now is, why would we put an I-3 very close to a neighborhood? You've got a mobile home park, you have the railroad track, then a mobile home park, then some houses. You know, Meadow Park neighborhood. And Glenview is not far from Meadow Park. So if we can send the police out and maintain a record on this company, I'd be for that.
Okay, police chief's nodding his head, yes. So where are we? Scott, I still want to talk to you or the owner. If this thing passes, I want you to, I need to hear it from them. I mean, it's, okay.
Sure. Yes, Mayor. No problem.
Where are we?
We haven't made any motions.
Ms. Ross?
Yeah, I just want to say something. You know, we did approve this, these 3 acres or whatever, but it was on the promise that they would not work late into the night, because I would have never voted for it if they had not made that promise.
Right.
And I thought that they were keeping up with it till now, so.
I think you're right. Let's go ahead and take it to a vote, and
Mayor, there's just been one reading of this.
I don't think
And we
we've
need
had
to
it.
make a
All right.
motion whether to
How about a
suspend
motion to suspend?
Well, let me ask this question, Sean. I mean, since, you know, we keep passing these passing legislation and letting allowing these businesses to have certain zonings, and then with the understanding that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and then once we grant the zoning or whatever it is we grant them, they go the other direction. So my thought is, why would we do this when we can do something like a special use? So if they violate it, then we can snatch that special use and it reverts back to what it is.
That's correct. When you do a rezoning in any agreement, it's just an agreement between up there and down here. There's nothing in writing that says that they have to stop at a certain time. Even though they agree to it, it's not in the ordinance. We do a special use, we could do something in the ordinance. So we could rezone it and do a special use if you want to do conditions on it. But sometimes just a straight special use in C3 wouldn't help their, there's probably a finance issue if it's not zoned correctly.
Correct.
Yeah, so we've come across that a couple times where they've had to have the rezoning and not the special use for financing.
Well, I understand that, but we wouldn't even be having this conversation if they would have did what they said they were going to do the first time.
So we could do a rezoning and if you were wanting to add a special use to it.
Mayor also has Mike Ronell here. He is, what's your title?
I'm one of the principals for Metro Scrap Metals and Marydale Corporation. And I'd like to address the council, if allowed. For starters, first and foremost, we're proud to be members of the North Little Rock community, a city that is the industrial city of the South, or the industrial city of Arkansas, is right back behind you guys. We're part of being the community. We're part of supporting the community. We want to be able to create jobs and be able to increase our footprint on what it is that we're able to do for the North Little Rock community. One of the things that we do to be able to keep our property safe at night is we're a good corporate citizen because what we do is we hire the North Little Rock Police off-duty crew to be our night watchmen. And we write checks to the city every month to be able to be having that. So as far as the North Little Rock Police being on site for any night activities, they are on site. They're the ones that are protecting us and keeping us from having metal theft leaving our yard every night. As far as the issue of night work, our goal is to not have overtime. We don't like it. It's business. You don't want to have overtime. You want to be able to have a situation where you're always keeping it to where you can keep your expenses down. These things have happened in the past when things got extremely busy for us back in 2014 and early 2015. But I can tell you that I personally approve the time cards that come through on a weekly basis as far as the flow. And I'm not seeing anything, and I haven't seen anything since probably January of 2015, where we had the crews that were working at night. I spoke with my crew chief today to be able to ensure that we did not have anything that's taken place, because what we didn't want to have a situation of is that we come to the city council and we make a promise to you guys that we're going to be trying to be good corporate citizens, which we are, and have it not be what it is that you guys are looking for us to do. This is something that we will continue to do, but in the meantime, we have currently 12 plus acres that are zoned I3 for us to be able to operate in. What we're trying to be able to do is to be able to clean up the area and eliminate these junk cars and things that are on the other properties to be able to expand our footprint, because what it'll do for us then is allow us to be able to spend even more money to be putting in more equipment that will be able to process quicker and faster and more efficiently, so that we can continue to be able to eliminate all this overtime that we were having to do years ago. So I would like to be able to request that the council consider our application for rezoning for this purpose, to be able to continue to promote North Little Rock as the industrial city of Arkansas and the industrial city of the South.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
What's your normal hours of operation?
We operate from sun up to sundown.
Sun up to sundown.
We're open to the public from 7:30 a.m. until 4:30 to 5 o'clock p.m.
Okay, now this time of year, the sun goes down a little bit later.
It does, and our guys, we prefer not to be running the crews after the sun goes down because of safety issues and concerns along those lines. If we ever do, which we did back in 2014 when we didn't have the space and the equipment to be able to process, and with all the industrial and business that was coming in the door thanks to the city of North Little Rock and the region, we were having to be able to bring in lighting systems and things like that to be able to operate at night, to be able to keep from having a situation where we were overflowing onto our neighbor's property, which is part of the reason why we're going to this expansion, is to be able to make it to where we have that additional area to be able to handle things properly.
How far in advance do you know you're going to have to work late?
Usually it's the day of.
The day of?
The day of. And we can make the call to the city to let them know, hey, we've got a situation where we're going to be running and it'll be tonight and maybe tomorrow night, or however it is that you guys need for us to do so. And we can make that as a part of our practice to where we can be able to make it happen. But I can tell you that ever since January of 2015, we have not had to work after dark.
Mayor, he just offered to give us a heads up if they...
Well, I think that's what we need, is we need to be able to let our two council members from that area know, so that when their phone starts ringing, say, okay, yeah, I'm aware of that, it's only going to last 3 days, or something like that. Because what we find out is that they expect us to have an answer. So I don't know is not good enough for them or me, either one. So if we have a call from you and saying, you know, we're going to have to do this, then I can tell them, I can tell 911, I can tell PD, so that everybody knows, yeah, they're heading to work tonight, they're running overtime, and they're going to work through the weekend or whatever it might be.
The PD usually knows because they know they'll have an easy night if they got a crew that'll be there, but thank goodness we haven't had to do that for quite some time.
All right. Ms. White?
Yeah, just one question. How late might that be on those times when you'd be notifying the city? What would that be?
Well, we've had situations where typically we'll run a full second shift where they'll start at 4 and be able to go until midnight or until 1 in the morning.
But you haven't done it in 2.5 years?
January of 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what the notification would be? If you do call them, that it could be till 1 o'clock in the morning? Is that what?
Well, we can be able to specify to them what we have the crew coming in for when that's happening as well, so that any inquiries that come in, they can say, here's what they have told us that they're going to be operating, and here are the time frame, the expectations.
Yeah, I wonder what's reasonable in that regard, though. Yeah.
Mr. Taylor?
So I guess the $100,000 question for me is, if all you're going to be doing is storing cars or whatever it is you're going to be storing, why such an intense use for the land that you're acquiring? Why does it have to be an I-3 rather than a C3?
We're not.
Special use.
What we're going to be doing is currently there are cars stored on that land. We're going to be removing them and recycling those cars, and then we're going to be expanding equipment into that area for processing so that we can be able to be putting more equipment in, to be working more during the daylight hours so that we can be able to put in the capital expenditure to be able to make all that happen so we can get it done during the day. I don't want to have our crew working at night because it just costs us more money.
So your increased capacity is going to go a long way in reaching your objective of not having to work at night then.
It will not only do that, but it'll increase our level of workforce and create jobs too.
Okay. Mayor, do we have to put anything in this legislation as far as a gentleman's agreement between them and us that if need does arise, that they have to work late, they'll call us? Do we need to put verbiage in this, or is it just going to be kind of a
Well,
handshake agreement?
Sean doesn't seem to think so. What's legal think?
I think not, because I-3, if it's permitted in I-3,
Yeah,
that's what this piece of legislation does, is
By right,
rezone it
with
to
the
that,
use.
and that's a permitted use.
Yeah, if the only way you can do it is grant them an I-3 and then put a special use on it where they can't operate out of certain hours, and that just be it. And that way we don't have to worry about them having a gentleman's agreement. Here's what the rules say, and if you break the rules, we're going to snatch that special use, and you can't do it anymore, period.
Mayor?
Yes.
Part of our decision in this process was we were trying to decide whether to be able to move our operation or keep it in North Little Rock. And our decision that we made was to be able to expand in the area where we are because of all of the reasons that everyone here knows. We want to be able to keep our jobs here in North Little Rock and be able to keep our people here in North Little Rock. We've got people that work for us, that some of them walk to work. They don't even drive to work, and we want to be able to keep our workforce in place.
And we want you to, too. I mean, this wouldn't be an issue for me, or I wouldn't even slowing down, but after Ms. Robinson said she was hearing the noise at 11 o'clock, you think it could have been from railroad tracks? Could it have been from the railroad tracks? No. I mean, I certainly believe every word he said, and I certainly believe every word you said, so I'm a little bit confused. So we might need to try to get to the bottom of that. But I'm certainly willing to go ahead and call this thing for a vote tonight. If I had to veto it, I've got a week, 6 days, I think, to veto it. But so I don't know what to do.
Mayor, the only thing I would request is that you guys provide us with the contact information on who we need to be able to be informing if we're going to be working for the after hours.
Absolutely.
And that way we can set it up as part of our procedures where the guys know, we'll know if we're hiring a crew to be coming in for the night. And then they know that if you're going to do it, you got to make that call before you do it and be able to let the crew.
What time do your police officers come on duty?
The good news is that they're at a random time that they'll come through. They usually work 4-hour stints, and it'll be random throughout the night. And we've got a pattern, but we don't disclose it because of the obvious reasons.
Sounds good. I was just trying to see if I could, surely you wouldn't have anybody moonlighting down there that you don't know that they're down there working.
They better not be, because otherwise the North Little Rock Police will be evicting them from the property and give them a place to stay for the night.
Right, okay. All right, do we have a motion?
No, sir.
I'm prepared to take a motion.
It's only been read once, Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor Honor.
Mayor, Your Honor, Joe.
Suspend the rules,
Motion made to suspend all readings.
or the readings.
Do we have a
I've already
second?
read it once.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to suspend all readings on the motion?
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
No.
Robinson?
No.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
Yes,
How about a motion to adopt?
On
so
the-
moved.
Second.
Mayor,
Yes.
I think it takes 6 votes to suspend all readings, and I believe that there were 5.
Oh.
All right.
So I
Mayor
think
votes-
we're going to have our second neat reading at the next meeting.
Can I vote?
No, not on this, you may not.
All right, we just suspended the rules for one reading, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, we got to come back next time. Scott? Let's talk, and then we need to talk to your 2 council members from that area and try to get them on the same page with us. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, next piece of legislation.
1743, Alderman Taylor.
Please call it.
An ordinance reclassifying certain property located at 11801 Interstate 40 in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas from C3 to I1 classification by amending ordinance number 7697 of the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas, adopting an amended land use plan for the subject property, declaring emergency. First reading.
Move to suspend the readings.
Second.
On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
Yes,
About a motion to adopt?
So move.
How about a second? On the motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
yes,
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
yes,
1744, Alderman Taylor.
Please call it.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning an alleyway running north and south between East 4th and East 5th Streets, east of Poplar Street in the city of North Little Rock, declaring an emergency. First reading.
Move to suspend the readings.
Second.
On the motion to suspend all readings.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
yes,
How about a motion to adopt?
So move.
On the
Second.
motion.
Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
yes,
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
And Height?
yes.
This concludes new business.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce Craig Douglas. Craig, wave at us. Craig has been hired by the campaign committee to help us run the sales tax campaign, and he's very experienced with these kind of campaigns, and we're glad to have him on our team. And if y'all have got any great ideas as far as marketing goes, feel free to talk to Craig. Certainly you can get to Craig's brain through me if you need to. So Craig, thanks for being here tonight, and thanks for agreeing to help us make North Little Rock special. Public comment, Jimmy Ard.
Good evening again. Mayor, you told me several weeks ago, let you know about 52nd Street.
About what?
52nd
Uh-huh.
Street. And I did a little research, and my understanding, the people that the city thinks own that property don't own it. I talked to the real estate company today, a company called Commercial Realty Incorporated. Tomorrow I'll find out where they're located. They're not paying city taxes in North Little Rock, according to Dan's department. And what two people up here don't understand, How come the city cannot make them at least move that building back or make them clean up around it? So I'll leave it with you, and I'll come up with more information and give it to Miss Julie.
I'm kind of dragging my feet on that, Jimmy, because I'd like to get you all worked up.
Say that again, please.
I said, I'm dragging my feet on that because I like to get you all worked up. I thought that we were working on top of it, Jimmy. I'll get back on it tomorrow.
Okay, but I've got this pacemaker, Mayor, and the pacemaker speeds me up. The defibrillator slows the women down.
I don't want to speed you up.
Okay. I have a few thought things. Number one, code enforcement, if I understand correctly, drive their trucks home all the time. How come code enforcement is not allowed or does not? I know I can't ask questions, but you can research it. Come out on weekends when I see sewers being put in, roofs being put on, and somebody has looked them up for me. No permits. That's money we're missing, Mayor. We're also missing money when you got banners, got an ordinance against them. You have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G to have one. I suggested to a council member that we up the privilege tax if they want a banner, charge them an extra $100 a year. We catch them with one, have them with a fine. Every bit of this helps the city make money. And I know it's very little, and I know it's gonna take time. And grass cutting. Why come code when they drive by someone's cutting grass with no emblems on their truck? Why come they can't stop and check them out? Dan says she can't call for a license number I give her, and the police has backed it up with all the rules, but why can't code when they see it? Because I've been behind them before, and they drive right by these people cutting grass with no emblems on their truck. Takes a few minutes to see if they got a permit. If not, issue them a ticket. That's just a few of my thoughts on how to make the city money, and I'm more than happy to do whatever I can for the tax deal.
And I know that, Jimmy. Thank you. Ms. Robbins.
I have a question for Sean in planning. Mr. Spencer, once a business go through planning and it passes planning and it passes the city council, how long does that business have to operate or, get up to standard, to open up and operate?
If it's a straight rezoning, the property is rezoned and they have years and years and years. If it's a special use, the special use is good for 1 year.
1 year.
So they have to get started in 1 year to get it going.
Okay, so after 1 year, and if the special use is not up and going, do we revoke the use?
It just dies in the folder.
It just dies. The same thing about a lot of these daycare centers that come through, and let's say the daycare center opens up and operate, and then they decide, that they're going to close the business. What happens to that use? Are we made aware of it, or
If
what?
it's a special use, it goes away. DHS yearly gives me a new list of daycares in the city, and we update our list and get it to the fire marshal.
Okay.
Ms. White?
Mayor, I forgot to mention that this Thursday night from 5 to 8 is Patio on Park Hill, and that's a fun event for anybody who's interested in going, just at the Lake Hill Shopping Center area, so.
It was a lot of fun last year. 2,000 or 3,000 people, I think, came, and so we encourage everybody to go and enjoy that party. Mr. Height?
I'd just like to ask if, and the city attorney at the same time, are y'all getting any calls about the increased number of panhandlers?
Yes.
Yes.
I know Jason has sat in your chair before and answered that question. There's nothing we can do, right?
Well, not right now, but we're working on it.
All right, good.
We're looking at different options for new ordinances that don't violate what the Supreme Court ruled and so on and so forth. So we're aware of it. I don't like it either. But Jason and I and Amy are on top of it. Anybody else? How about a motion?
So moved. Second.
On the motion.
Ross. White.
Yes.
Taylor. Robinson. Baxter. Harris. And Height.
Yes. Mayor, how we doing on this?